Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're diving into something that is honestly completely counterintuitive. I mean, we live in this world that's constantly screaming at us to speak up, talk faster, just hustle harder to be heard, right? But today we're going to break down the actual brain science behind why silence and just slowing down actually makes you the most powerful person in the room. By the end of this, you're going to see exactly how doing less literally equates to commanding way more respect. Okay, I want you to picture a scenario I'm sure we've all been in. You walk into a chaotic, super high-stakes meeting room. The energy is just frantic. People are checking their phones, adjusting their collars, nervously tapping their pens, rapidly talking over one another, just fidgeting everywhere, except for one single person. That person is sitting completely still. They're just observing the room, looking perfectly, almost unnervingly at ease. Now ask yourself this. Without that calm person even speaking a single word, who do you instinctively trust? Who do you immediately perceive as the absolute authority in that space? Your gut reaction points straight to the person who is perfectly still. But why is that? It's actually not just some random social convention. It's deeply, deeply wired into our human biology. Which brings us to Section 1, the neuroscience of dominance, and what I like to call the reptile brain. Let's get into it. To figure out why stillness commands so much respect, we have to look way past that generic just be confident advice and look directly at our biology. Whenever we step into a high-pressure room, this primitive piece of mental software, often called the reptile brain, takes over. It doesn't care about your resume or how clever your points are. It's basically just a raw radar system scanning for safety or danger. It's constantly processing the environment, ready to trigger a fight or flight response based entirely on the physical signals everyone else is broadcasting. And that primitive brain categorizes everyone in the room into basically one of two buckets. On one side, you have the prey. Think of a nervous, twitchy deer, hyperreactive to every little snapping twig. On the other side, the predator, a calm, observant lion, totally unfazed by its environment. So here is the absolutely crucial point. When you rush your words, or you fidget, or you anxiously jump in to fill a silence, you accidentally signal prey behavior to everyone else's reptile brain. You're literally broadcasting fear. Conversely, doing less and just remaining physically still naturally projects dominance. It silently tells the brains of everyone around you, hey, I'm entirely safe and I'm in total control of my environment. Moving right along to Section 2. 3 hacks for authority and exactly how to override that prey response. So, now that we know our brains are constantly scanning for the lion versus the deer, let's look at 3 actionable physical hacks that will instantly override that prey response and build up your aura of authority. The first technique on our list actually explains why so many top-tier CEOs speak so slowly. It's all about the 3-second pause. By forcing yourself to wait exactly 3 seconds before answering a tough question, you completely short-circuit the perception of panic. Instead of, verbally pouncing just to prove you know the answer, you signal to the entire room that you're thoughtfully processing information, rather than impulsively reacting out of a fight-or-flight panic. Hack number 2 is incredibly subtle, but scientifically proven to alter the social dynamics of a room. It's the slow blink. Now, I know it sounds almost too simple to be effective, but remember, we are communicating with the primitive, pattern-recognizing parts of the brain here. When you look at someone and blink slowly, it's a nonverbal broadcast of absolute comfort. Blinking slowly literally tells the primitive brains of the people around you that you are entirely unafraid of your surroundings. By deliberately slowing down your eyelids, you're effectively reducing your own aggression signals and projecting total ease. It completely disarms the fight-or-flight response in the people looking at you. Our final hack moves away from facial expressions entirely and travels straight down to the floor. This technique focuses completely on how you position your lower body. Because, believe it or not, your physical foundation dictates your neurology just as much as your thoughts do. When you cross your legs or your ankles, you are physically off balance, which actually subtly stresses your nervous system. So instead, never cross your ankles. Plant your feet firmly shoulder-width apart. This biological grounding actually helps to lower your body's cortisol levels, which is your primary stress hormone, and it physically grounds your nervous system, allowing you to maintain that lion-like stillness. All right, Section 3, mistakes that kill aura. Here is what not to do. Look, even if you perfectly master those physical hacks we just talked about, there are a few really common nervous habits that will instantly destroy your aura. First up, nodding too much. Doing this just to appear agreeable signals that you are desperately seeking approval. Second is over-explaining. Once you've made your point, just stop talking. Continuing to ramble signals pure insecurity. And finally, nervously laughing at your own jokes. I mean, we've all done it, right? But it instantly shatters your calm demeanor and just screams prey. The core takeaway for this entire explainer really boils down to this. Doing less achieves far more. In high-stakes, pressure cooker environments, frantically trying to be heard, over-explaining, and nervously filling the silence, it always backfires. True authority absolutely does not have to shout to be recognized. And that brings us to Section 4, the Stillness Challenge. Let's put this into practice. Since this explainer is all about giving you practical tools you can actually use, I want to issue you a very specific challenge today. I want you to go into just one meeting today, or even just one high-stakes conversation. Plant your feet, look the person in the eye, and when they ask you a question, practice that stillness. Count to 3 in your head before you speak. You don't have to do the whole shebang perfectly right away. Just start with that 3-second pause. If you accept this challenge, I want you to drop the word still in the comments section below. Commit to it. Then I want you to come back here later and update us on the results. Tell us how the whole dynamic of the room shifted when you stopped frantically reacting and instead took calm, silent control. Because as you prepare to walk through that next door and sit down at the table, the ultimate question remains. When the pressure mounts and everyone else starts fidgeting, will your body language broadcast the panicked, nervous energy of the deer or the quiet, commanding stillness of the lion? The choice is entirely yours. Keep learning, keep practicing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.